Hello and welcome to William and Mary's series on Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan. My name is Stan Rockwell. These are physical activities, and physical activities always involve some risk. So be careful, take care of yourself, make sure you've checked the area so there's nothing to step on or trip on. You have flat shoes or barefoot. You stay in your comfort zone the entire time. 70% of whatever your capabilities are at this moment, and you just take care of yourself. We've focused thus far really on Qigong. Tai Chi is a form of Qigong. It's a martial art form. Qigong has forms that are just for enlightenment, for physical, mental, emotional health, and there's some that are for martial purposes. There's some that really have all those in them. Tai Chi has been around since around the 1600s in its modern forms, going back to the Qin village in China. The movements all have some sort of martial intention to them, but they all are Qigong movements as well. Traditionally, at least in this country, there's a fairly high dropout rate in Tai Chi classes because the forms can be fairly long. There are forms that go up to 105 or 108 movements, sometimes 113 movements long, and folks stop. So there are folks who have developed really kind of short movements that take into consideration the principles of Tai Chi and Qigong that we've talked about thus far, but there are only maybe 3 pieces to it, so it's much easier to remember. The first one that we're going to do is from Harvard Medical School and also Benson Henry Institute of Mindfulness, which is associated with them. And if you're interested in a nice introductory book for Tai Chi, the Harvard Medical School Guide to Tai Chi is a good source. They spell it T-A-I-C-H-I, the old Wei Giles version. I always spell it T-A-I-J-I, the Pinyin version, because it's much more close to what the pronunciation is. Think of Beijing in modern Pinyin, P-E-I-J-I-N-G, versus Peking, the old Wei Giles version, P-E-K-I-N-G. Tai Chi just translates as supreme, ultimate. It's the force that brings yin and yang into being from Wuji. Qin translates as fist or boxing. Another translation you'll see sometimes is pole star, or a pole, a stake that holds up something. And they even use that pole star in terms of your body. So the Ba Wei we've talked about is the North Star, and the other stars of the Big Dipper are, it's 7 stars total. So you have shoulder, elbow, wrist, or hip, knee, ankle. And the movements, yin goes into yang. Remember, energy comes up in from one foot. You direct it with the waist as you turn. You express it with the hand and the fingers. So Harvard Medical School's version starts out by just getting yourself nice and balanced, that Wuji stance we've talked about before, where you settle down into it, get equally balanced on all sides. Just relax all the muscles in your body, all the muscles in your face. Focus on your breathing. Abdominal breathing. Touching the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. And just breathe. The first part is just called pouring, and it's a visualization. Remember, we've said there's a lot of visualization in Qigong and Tai Chi. So you visualize water pouring from one side of your body to the other. So when all my weight's on this side, this leg is full of warm, salty water, the same temperature as your body, the same salinity as your body. As you shift your weight to the other side, that water pours over into the other leg on this side as this leg empties. Remember, you have that pendulum hanging down from the Ba Wei. When you're in the center, it's right in the middle of your foundation, and your foundation is that invisible line around the outsides of your feet. And everything inside that triangle, inside that rectangle is your foundation. You want to be centered over it. So when I shift all my weight into this foot, I'm centered in this foot, and this foot is my foundation. There's no weight in this other foot. So you shift from one side to the other, pouring the water from one side to the other. And a visualization is a healing visualization where you visualize that water starting at the tips of your toes, working its way up almost cell by cell. You can make this a really long meditation if you want, but it's cleaning the cells. It's getting rid of any adhesions that might be there. And you work your way up, all the way up to the top of your head, down to your fingertips. Just cleaning all the inside of your body with a healing, warm, salty water. And again, this is something you can do anytime, anywhere. You can even do it if you're laying down at night trying to get to sleep. You can visualize the flow from one side to the other without actually moving. The second part of this is something called the Tai Chi swing. So as you shift your weight, you start to turn. As all the weight goes into one foot, the heel of the weightless foot comes up off the ground just a bit. Your shoulders almost disappear in this. It's like your hands are tether balls attached directly to your spine. You can do this with your eyes open or closed. You can let your head turn with your shoulders. And remember, you're keeping your head nice and balanced on your shoulders. Doing it with your eyes closed makes you a little nauseated. You just open your eyes, you look straight ahead, keeping your eyes on something that's not moving. And throughout this, you just visualize yourself in a place where you feel very safe, secure, and serene. Practice that word you paired with your abdominal breathing to engage that relaxation response if you want. Again, you can do this however long you want. Third part is called drumming. And it's drumming or tapping on acupressure points or acupuncture points. And even when we're just swinging, our wrist or our hand in the back is hitting just inside the hip on the buttock on the acupressure point back there. Now we're just going to let arm come across and it just taps on that lung acupressure point just inside the shoulder. If you run your finger down your collarbone and you get to that little hollow just before you get to your shoulder, it's an acupressure point on the lung meridian. And you drop down and it's right at the base of the rib cage. You're not striking hard, you're just tapping. And then that lower dantian, we've talked about those energy centers before, upper, middle, lower dantian, upper dantian. It's basically where the third eye is in yoga, and it really kind of corresponds to the, just go ahead and start to swing again. The electromagnetic field around your brain. Middle dantian is where the heart chakra is, corresponds to that pretty large electromagnetic field around your heart. Lower dantian, 3 finger widths or 2 finger widths, depending on who's teaching it, below your belly button and about 2 or 3 finger widths inside of your belly. Really corresponds to that electromagnetic field around your enteric nervous system, which is almost independent of your brain. It can function if it's cut off from your brain. It has about as many or more neurotransmitters as your brain. So when you feel something in your gut, you really do just come back. And that's the whole sequence. The second sequence of 3 we want to do is developed by Chiang Mai Ching, who came to the U.S. from China around around 1960 plus or minus to New York and was one of the first people to teach Tai Chi in the U.S. And again, this is a short form, and it involves a lot of visualization too. So you just swing a little bit, bring one arm up, bring the other arm up, and your arms are crossed at your wrists. And again, this is a standing meditation, a standing pole, standing stake. And just breathe. The visualization with this one reminds me a lot of loving kindness Buddhist meditation, if you've ever done those, where you pick someone and you send them loving kindness and also send it to yourself, eventually out to the world. With this, you pick that spot right in the center of your body. It's a spot halfway between the Wuji Point, between the lower Dantian we were just talking about and the Ming Men, which is at the right directly behind it at the lower back. And the Wuji Point is right in the middle between those two. And you visualize a very white healing light, very intense right there. And as you breathe, you visualize that light expanding outwards. So it envelops your whole body. Then the space around you, if you're inside in a room, if you're outside, just a space visually around you. After the whole town you're in, out to the county, the city, out to the world, to the far reaches of the universe, and back. And then you visualize it coming back towards you until it gets back to that center Wuji spot. And just breathe. Balance it all out. Getting just a slight bit of a drizzle, so I had to move things around to get the computer out of the rain. So this is the standing meditation from Chiang Mai Ching. The second part is one called Yin Yang Breathing. I'll turn to the side so you can see. Your arms are going to come up and they're going to come in towards you. And press down as they do. Your hips go back a little bit, knees bend a little bit. It's an inhale and an exhale. So your arms are just moving around. Go ahead and face you again. Visualization with this is you visualize energy running up and down your body on what's called a microcosmic orbit. Remember we've talked about before, the reason you touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth is that conception vessel running down the front. Governing vessel up the back, meeting at your tongue. And you visualize energy going around those two places. Either direction, it doesn't matter. You can do this however long you want. When you're done, balance it all out. And the third part, remember you're holding a ball. We want to keep our palms facing those Lao Gong points lined up. So you turn yourself on that center axis from one side to the other. It's very similar to a movement called wave hands like clouds. And again, you can do this however long you want. Another visualization in Tai Chi particularly is steel wrapped in cotton. It's the softness overcoming hardness. So instead of meeting something with force, meet it with compassion. Use its own energy and the direction it's moving in to take it somewhere else and away from you. Show you just one quick movement called ward off, where you're like this. So elbows dropped, shoulders nice and relaxed. That's another reason you don't want your elbow up like this. If you have your arm up like this and somebody pushes, it's fairly easy to push it around. But if you drop it like this and just settle down into your feet, sink down into it, and just absorb energy as somebody's pushing there, you don't have to push back. You can just absorb that energy. You'll feel it in your back foot. And when it's time for them to go, all you gotta do is just turn, drop your elbow, and the force takes them right off to the side. So a lot of this energy work is internal, external, but also being aware of the energy around you and sort of directing it in a way that's helpful for you too. Thank you for joining me. Stay safe, healthy, and well. Remember to practice, and with these forms, they're very short, pretty easy to remember. You can do them, especially the first three, really anytime, anywhere. So take care. Bye-bye.